I wanted to talk to you about realness. I mean, the realness of film. From your point of view, I think that's what you are trying to talk about. I mean, like.
You mean realism?
Yes, or real topics. I mean.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think I tend to go in both directions. Mm. So, for example, in a surreal way with someone like Quentin Tarantino, the Hulk, even things, bizarre things like you do for your kids.
Yeah.
And then the things that you do for yourself, there are films that you make for yourself, and particularly films like Chronic or 600 Miles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're dealing with, I think, very, very complicated subjects that affect everybody.
Yes.
I would say the Chronic is a good example of it because death is something that comes to everybody, but it's a subject that we try and avoid, and so I think what Michel was doing was trying to confront that taboo. It is difficult to get the money together to produce and complete a film like Chronic. It's a hard sell, but they seem to be in Mexico. They seem to be very interested in doing that. That's the new wave that's coming into Mexico. I don't think it's a new kind of cinema. It may be that it's a new kind of cinema for here, but it's the kind of filmmaking that hasn't. It feels like it's been left behind for a long time, and now it's back. The person I would equate Michel's films quite often. I think of him in the same way as I do with Ken Loach, where he's taking on political subjects, difficult subjects, personal stuff as well. Gabriel, we don't know because this is his first film as a director, but quite clearly, again, a difficult theme, especially for Mexico as well. So I think of them as a new wave, representative of a kind of new wave of filmmakers. But I think that there has been a struggle to make those kinds of films in the past, in France and certainly in Europe.
The difference between the directing styles of Ripstein and Franco.
Michel, when I was working with him, it began in Cannes. When we met in Cannes and we gave him an award. And so I said, well, if you make it a male nurse, I'll do it. And he went, okay. And then he started the writing, and I got the first draft fairly quickly, and we just started making notes and changes. And so it became immediately a collaboration. And then the process with him was research. I went off and did my research, he did his. And then we came together. By the time we got to make the film, it was very simple, very, very complicated emotionally, but very, once we had the script to where we needed it to be and we could forget about it, then it became almost like theatre, It was a very, very interesting, and it's just a complete collaboration. That's how we work together. With Gabriel, it was more of a traditional actor-director relationship. I mean, I could suggest as often as I wanted to cameras, angles, or script changes, or what about if we did this and that. But it felt that it had a much more kind of traditional trajectory, which I think was fine. Is as good a way as any of making a film. So they're very different, but they come up together.
Okay.
I have 3 projects that I want to make. All very, very different, that are English language. But there's a couple of ideas I've had of doing a film in Spanish and in Mexico, and shooting it in Mexico. So that's something that we're discussing now. So it might end up being the first thing that I do will be
right.
And I don't speak Spanish, so it will be very interesting.